welcome back to the Enlightened Misfits podcast. I am your host, Lauren Perlingi, and in today's episode, we have Dr. Meg. And before I get into her story and introduce her, what I want you to do is I want you to make sure if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or whatever wherever you're listening to this, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're watching this over on YouTube, make sure you're also subscribed and check out the description box below. Everything that you need to know about Dr. Meg will be there, and anything that you need to know about me will be there. So here on the Enlightened Misfits podcast, we talk about real conversations and tools to help you create a business and life aligned with your soul. So let's dive into today's conversation with Dr. Meg. Welcome, Dr. Meg. So happy to have you here with us this morning.
Great to be with you, Lauren.
Of course. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and your story this far?
Sure. So I've been in the healing biz, you could say, for 30 years. I did my first internship in Washington, D.C. in the summer of 1995, or whatever it was. It was 30 years ago. At St. Elizabeth's Hospital, I was a social work intern at a public defender's office. I always knew I wanted to go. I was always interested in humans, and I was always interested in truth. So what is the ultimate truth? And didn't find a better field than psychology. So I went into social work and then got my degree in psychology, tried to drop out of society and lived in Colorado briefly, went and then got my doctorate. That didn't work. Can't really do it. Because I was like, I have this on my website, but I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, who's in charge here? Like, who's the manager of this earth? Because it really, I don't agree. I have some things I would like to change. So, so I was always in pursuit of like, who's in charge? How does this operate? Why is it so backward? And it must be humans that need some help, and I want to get to the bottom of it. So I went into psychology. So yeah, I got my doctorate and was a licensed clinical psychologist for 17 years, and explored I was an academic. I worked in community mental health. I worked in integrative health. I worked in private practice. I worked in hospitals. I worked as an ER crisis person for 10 years. Did it all. And I looked at every theory when I taught doctoral students. I really was interested in we would have to like choose an orientation. Are you analytic or are you cognitive behavioral? Blah blah blah. It was all bullshit, because it's like whatever works really, and whatever is true. And there's truth in that our childhood affects us. Obviously, there's truth in how we think. There's truth in systems theory, all these things, but there was never really the like ultimate truths in psychology. And so I had to leave that field. I was practicing, but I was exploring non-duality, spirituality, energy healing, looking for deeper truths. So started doing more somatic and embodiment work, because psychology really doesn't incorporate the body, and then non-dual or spiritual, going right into source as well, and got 2 energy psychology or energy healing certificates, and worked directly with several non-dual teachers. And now I let my license go because I just wanted to do coaching basically, and I don't agree with anything of the medical model. Um, I have a post that went viral on Substack and TikTok that just says, as a licensed clinical psychologist for 17 years, I'm here to tell you there's no such thing as a mental disorder. There's such a thing as 8+ billion of us brainwashed and conditioned, but it is the system that is disordered, not us, because everything is backward in this world. And so that resonated because we keep diagnosing ourselves with anxiety or depression or all these things. And if you live, as we do, in a prison or a zoo where we are mandated to have to work to live, and have basically wardens in the forms of our school administrators and government and blah, blah, blah. Now it's all going away and dissolving, but this is the focus became less about sort of helping the zoo animal feel better about their situation and breaking us out of the zoo. So I broke people free in coaching, and now I work more systemically, and my podcast is working with other what I call new earth leaders or stewards who are redesigning this place. which is what I wanted to do from when I was a kid.
I have to say, I love that everything that you just said. And I believe everybody listening to this podcast or that will listen to this podcast literally has the same exact perspective. If not,
Yeah.
truest to what you said, me too, when I was a little kid. Obviously, and I think from your expertise and your background, from hearing it from you and
Yeah.
your perspective, you've
Yeah.
done it all. You've done,
Yep.
you have a lot of experience, with the healing field, I should say, like even if it was medical or if it was that or that, this or that, I feel like that is really powerful because I literally, I think my mom can attest to this. Like when you said who is in charge here, that was literally, you're not in charge of me, but somebody else is. Who is it? Like,
Yes.
I guess in a 3D perspective, yes, she was in charge of me, but it's like, but who's really in charge here? Because like I want to speak to them. Like I think I
Yes.
remember vividly asking that, and she's like, "What the fuck are you even asking me?"
Totally love it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm just speaking, and you're just speaking what resonates for all of us. That truth is truth, and truth recognizes truth, and that real fundamental question of who are we? What is this place? How does it run? Everybody who, everybody who I don't know. There's everybody has that question at the bottom of everything, but there's some of us who I think of us just like as first waivers, like we're the first wave of New Earth builders or whatever, where we're awake to the matrix and realizing it's all nonsense and committed to dissolving it and rebuilding. And everybody will join that, but they'll just be in different waves. And us, when we were kids, us first waivers were like, we already were awake to the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I always say, me and my friend always joke saying that I was like, I came out of my mom and I was like awake to like, the fuck, where did I come? What is this? Oh my God. Where am I? Yeah, no. So I can definitely
They always tell the story of my birth. When I was born, I didn't cry. I just literally was born with my eyes wide open. Like, look, you're like, what's going on?
kind of portal did I come through? And here
Exactly.
I am. Here I am.
Here we
How
are.
many years later? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can resonate with that on so many different levels. Like, and I think, and I have to say that I, for a while, was like trying to be the one to wake people and like just wake up. And it's just like, well, that's not my job anymore. And it's now the universe. That's the universe's job. That's source's job, not mine. I'm just here to guide everybody where they need to go,
Exactly. Exactly.
including myself.
Throw some pointers out there, and those will resonate when they do. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing too with people waking up too. And when I'm hearing my clients talk or just other people talk that are like, I wish I could just heal the world. And I even had this conversation last week with my mentor about maybe our job is just to focus on ourselves, and then each person just focuses on themselves, and then that creates the ripple effect,
Yeah.
to awaken, because I feel like some people are so focused on external versus internal because they don't want to look at internal, right? And it's like that's, I feel like, where that separation piece is too. So can you
Yeah.
kind of speak about or share about the way that, or what led you to decide, like what was that turning point, and what did it look like for you when you were like, I'm not going to be here, I'm going to be a world builder versus, an advisor kind of thing, when you left and
Yeah. Um, uh, in a way, I always like, I mean, it's just what everything, I just want to say something about what you just said about the internal and external.
Mhm.
It's true. We have to start with ourselves. There isn't really an internal and external. So when I let's say open, because the healing process just means returning to wholeness,
Right.
and which is like an opening process or a realization or remembrance, whatever you want to call it. And so when I open my like channel here, it's like a channel in a river that
Right.
opens the rest of the river, and it's one brain and one body and one mind. um and so I'm glad I went into healing because I worked in one-on-one with people, working on our own stuff and with my own stuff. And that is the right order. It's an inside out movement, right? And it's exactly it. All I am is doing as a world builder is encouraging people to honor themselves. And I know now, I know having worked for 30 years intimate with people, how we're built, and we're built to literally, like, our default setting is making Eden, is fulfillment for all. That's natural law. And we have it because we have philosophies and a bunch of dead white guys, with their ideas that are wrong, running everything, versus honoring our natural self, both self with a capital S and our embodied self, which is one, that is like a divine orchestra, how we all work together, as long as we play our instrument, and our instrument is us as source, fully embodied in us as a unique embodied being. And so the transition was like, always world builder was on my mind since I was a kid. And then working one-on-one, and then in 2020 I was able to go from like having a private practice to putting everybody online. And I could still take insurance or whatever. And then I stopped taking insurance. And then I stopped like doing it under the umbrella of therapy and just called it coaching, and then let the license go. And so I got to do everybody on the phone, which made it really simple and easy. I got to move to California. um, and then and then I was just like at this point where working one-on-one is great, but I like it was the larger model of having to pay for anything, right? The it's not just capitalism, but it's the extractive scarcity story that we're all inside of, versus the reality that everything is abundant. There's more than enough for everyone. We don't have to sell each other anything. We can literally just gift and share. Like, sharing economy is how we're meant to live. So I had enough buffer after a very dramatic turn of events where I found myself, I was in a cult, and I had to escape my own house, and I was betrayed by a whole community. It was all very dramatic, but it boosted me to do my own thing, to pare down and move into, a small little cottage where it's just me and my computer. And I was like, I want to go on Substack and I want to give away all my healing tools, because that was always my intent. And then learned that the people that I was with, that was not their intent. They wanted to just have a business and kind of keep doing the one-on-ones and keep doing retreats and these kinds of things. But the spiritual retreat loop and the awakening loop and the healing loop, people could just stay on that. Like, as a therapist, I see it. I had so many people come to me who were in therapy for years or in spiritual healing for years. And it was like, we don't need to keep doing this. You can actually just like wake up and honor your life and have fun. It's no big deal. And so I wanted to give away all my healing tools. So I had enough money and I had enough time, and I was by myself, and it was just me and my dog out near the beach. And then my dog died, suddenly, strangely. And that even opened me up even more, which is a whole nother story. But source being very, very, very orchestral in this whole movement. So I was set up to just like give it all away. And then it was like that, if I'm initiating the gift economy, which is my heart, which is what I want to do. I don't want to have people pay for this. I want it to be really efficient. So I have hundreds of hours of meditation, hundreds of hours of our conversations in the podcast, where I just speak on all these different topics, do healing, do all kinds of stuff, brought on the best healers in the world, like people curing cancer and spike proteins from mRNA, and people realigning, your body. Like the best healers and mathematicians and world builders started showing up. And so it was this me moving off the model of trade and scarcity to abundance, and then finding other people doing that in their own field, that were masters of their own field. And then started the podcast, took the live stream into a podcast, and now we were at 103 episodes. I just was in Ireland doing live streams from ancient sites.
Oh,
And
wow.
just, yeah, with a bunch of people on the live, and like, put this crystal here and walk over here, and what do we do there, and what do you feel about, because a lot of these ancient sites in Ireland are just open. um and so you can just, and I was staying on some land that near the town where my family is from, my matrilineal line. And I didn't know they had all these ancient dolmens, which are like mini Stonehenges on the land, that like I was to by myself with these ancient sites, just able to vibe with these nodes that are like acupoints basically for the earth.
Oh, wow.
So getting messages and codes, you could say. And so now it's like just unleashing. So I went from, it's like a stepwise transition, and now it's just like everything's free. Um, and I'm talking only with other world builders and people who are like fully on board with New Earth and living it, in whatever way they are. We're all participating in the gift economy in some way. I started an open source directory on my Substack, hundreds of people linked in there who have GoFundMe's for sanctuary, all kinds of things. And I can see that the wealth transfer is about to happen. I have like, some Oracle capacity that came online, which is really just us fully embodied as source, writing our own story, into reality, because we're the creators here. We don't have to accept the reality that's been handed to us. And you and I didn't, you know what I mean? There's many people who were like, not accepting it from day one. So now I'm now fully in the position of being able to write it and initiate it and speak it and put it out there on live streams and stuff like that. So
I love that. And I was kind of gonna go back to when you spoke about the exchange, like with scarcity of like exchange and like the energy exchange. And I feel like it's been something that when I started in coaching, I guess it's been 5 years now. Same thing. I felt like I had to go through this cult like thing. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Let me go this way. I'm like, and it was always like learning different experience of like, never doing that again, never doing that again. And I feel like even just when I speak with my own one-on-one clients now, is they're, they question the same thing of like, how do I live in a 3D reality, um and pay for things or pay bills, and like, how do you balance, like the question was, one of my clients had asked, how do you balance 3D and the 4-5D? Can
yeah,
you kind of speak about how you do that? Because you're obviously living in a 3D reality, but how do
yeah,
you, obviously, and you can see the matrix, kind of collapsing, or it has
yeah,
collapsed, or whatever, wherever you are, like,
yeah,
it has collapsed. Can you kind of speak about how you kind of shifted out of, like you said, that scarcity, but to abundance mindset?
yeah, yeah. Um, it's the I mean, very, very practically, I was able to move to California, and I had like a chunk of money in savings because
Okay.
my mother died suddenly, and it had a life insurance policy. So, and it all worked out. She literally died right before COVID. And I was thinking about moving. It just all just so poetically lined up, right? So, so, and I mean, I could tell the story that it's sad that my mother died, but it's like it all life will provide as we move into our alignment, right? And I'm the most practical person in the world. I would never tell somebody to like quit their job or anything like that. But like I have a friend who right now is like she left her work, left everything. Um she's intentionally houseless, and she's doing a lot of energetic work. And so I don't want to like say too much because I don't want to reveal who, but so I know what she's up to, and I've given her money, by the way. So, and she's gotten money from other people. She doesn't have to not have a job, but she took the leap, and it was all so poetic. It was like she saw a post of mine, and then I gave her some money. Anyway, point is, it's like she took the leap and I had money. I took the leap. My mother gave this big account. I took the leap with my podcast. People have given on Substack. You can be, we have subscription programs. So people just give me money, right? I have, I don't know, 10 paid subscribers or something, and they keep me in several $100s a month, right? And I still have old clients. But what I've charged now for individual private clients, for new private clients, is $1 billion an hour, because I'm dead serious about if somebody's going to ask me to talk about their old world's problems, they're going to seed the new earth with me. And that's final. And I know that my clients are the billionaires. That those are the ones I want. And those are the ones, because you're going to work with me. That's the conversion. So I have no so 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 I get money through old clients. I get money through random acts of grace. I get money through subscribers. And I watch how all my friends who, like, I have a friend who does these holographic healing tools. She's a biochemical engineer and shaman named Claudia Reynaud. She's brilliant. She puts holographic healing codes inside crystals, and I was just all over Ireland putting it on the water and on these ancient sites, and it heals us. But she, like, as soon as she came on the podcast and started stepping into her own vision and owning, like, risking being out there, because people who spoke out against the jabs have been hurt and vilified and whatever. It's shifted now, but she was nervous because some friends were, struggled with that. But as soon as she did, clients came in, and like, and more subscribers and all this. So the reality is abundance. The reality is, it like I give the example of birds, right? So birds just instinctually go from British Columbia to Florida, right? And then in Florida are the exact seeds their bodies need, the exact water that they need. Their fellow bird brethren are all there. All they had to do was follow the magnetic field that was in their body, that was their instinct, that was their inner knowing. And so I've seen that time and time again with myself in mysterious, amazing ways. You step and the path rises to meet you, because it's you writing the story. You're the one who put the code to go to Florida in you, you're a source. So so I was like, oh, hey, you're going to move to California in 2021. And then there's going to be this big dramatic thing with a woman that you put above you, and you needed to learn your own power, and she's going to betray you. And then you're going to step into your own seat, right? And then you're going to travel to Ireland, and, like, all of these things. And then I just keep stepping. And then it's like, oh my God, this is a very cool story. And I have all the resources that I need. So it's not a fantasy story. It's not impractical. Again, I'm not going to, like, tell somebody to quit their job, but if it's true in your bones, if you know something, and I'm sure you've had this experience and your listeners have too, right? It's like you take the step and then you win the lottery. It's like ding, 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 ding. Everything rises to meet you, just like the birds. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
I love the way that you said that too, because when I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking, yep, that happened, that happened, that happened. And then, but now looking back on it, you're right. My soul obviously chose all of that, those things. My consciousness is like, you're conscious of this now. If that's like your story of, betrayal and all this stuff, that has been my story. It seems like my whole life, but I now understand it and see it. So I'm in control of, do I want my reality to be like that? And I feel like that is what is the most important thing, because I get to choose my reality, and I have a choice. And if I choose this way and this way, I know which way I'm going to go. Do I want to go
exactly.
this way? But I could, because I could. And I feel like a lot of people, it's like going back to that one core teaching that you teach about separation. I mean, I always believe separation was a lie, and I feel like that's the control piece, right? Like, that's the control of society, the programming, the conditioning, all of the things. And here's me. What if separation is not, like, what if I'm always like, what if it's the complete opposite? Try it, and that's the thing
Yes.
I tell my clients, because they'll ask me for guidance, which I'll tell them my experience, but I also tell them, I want you to sit with this, because you know the answer. I do not know your answer. You know your answer. And they get frustrated. Their humanness gets frustrated with me, they're like, just
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me. I'm not telling you, because
Can't
mine,
know that for you. Yeah.
yeah, is
Mhm.
could be different from your truth, but you'll know if what I'm speaking resonates, right? So
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
can you kind of explain, from your core teachings, that separation is a lie? Like, could you explain what that means and how this false belief shows up in everybody's life every single day?
Love it. Yeah. It's the fundamental, you talk about control, which comes from fear, which the only reason we have fear is a belief in separation, is the belief that there's a separate self here from God, from nature, from the rest of the world, right? And so then that because no animal, like we project that animals have fear, but they don't really. They just have their survival instinct. And they don't, like, if they get into a scuffle, they separate, they shake off the adrenaline, and they move on with their day. Like, there's no story about that duck that's coming, that lives behind me and that I really have a resentment with now, or whatever. And I'm gonna have to control who I go around. So it's a code that's been put in, almost like sometimes I'm like, if we go like, so we're source, and we created this funny game called separation. It's like playing the game of hide and seek. And we put veils over our own eye, our own third eye, our own inner eye, to pretend that, to forget and pretend, and have the joy of finding it us again. It's like, I'll sometimes say, like, we did it for the plot. Now we're all tired of this story of separation. It's like, oh, that was, we're gonna let's let's play this, let's wrap it up. It's like getting old. But it is everything comes back to separation. So the story of competition, of zero sum games, right, of survival of the fittest, that was always wrong. It's survival and thriving of the friendliest is actually how the biologists say it now, which is the most networked, which is what all ecosystems do on their own. We are wired to create Eden. We are wired to network, to connect, to collaborate, not to compete, because we are one, right? So the bird and the tree and the flower and the air all work together to pollinate the rest of the fruit trees, right? Like, this is not, it's one orchestra. When the soil needs it, the rain comes. It's all like that. And so then we have a lot of artificial orchestration that has us forgetting that it's so divine. And it's literally just a spell. So lately I've been trying to break the spell of countries. I'm like, there's no such thing as countries. That is a spell. There's no such thing as, so it's all the different ways of separation, right? There's no separation between races, between men and women, between masculine and feminine, between countries. I've said, like, it is one country, Earth, and we are one people, us, right?
Right.
And so it's all the stories of division, all the stories of competition, of zero sum, of scarcity, all goes back to this idea that we're separate. But the meditations that I teach, which is really just speaking the natural state of being, which is oneness, what they do is take a pure awareness, which is oneness, which is what's looking out of our eyes, to come into the body, to come through the body, and to sense very directly through the body the oneness that's here. So that it's not a belief or a theory or anything you have to stretch. It's a direct sensation. Oh, there's oneness. And I can feel, and I can channel all kinds of things. And I do channel all kinds of things, right? That don't come from me. It's not like I went to the shopping mall of ideas and had this brilliant thing come through. It's that it just came through. Well, where did it come from? Who is that? That's you. That's your higher self or source or the one mind or whatever we want to call the source that sources everything, which is you. So that's a very tangible thing to realize, remember, awake to, all these words that have a different quality, but it's a realization process and a remembrance. And it's not something that you have to keep remembering. There's layers of remembrance. More and more just keeps coming online, I find, and I'm sure you do too. But the fundamental sensation of oneness knocks out fear, the fundamental fear. So I describe myself as a fearless person now, like, because I know I don't die. And my avatar is just like, it's really fun to be here, and I'm in it for the plot. Like, like, let's see what we want to write tomorrow. Tomorrow is my 11/11 homecoming party. It's all over the world, and we're going to state capitals or to billionaires' houses. So I'm going up to Jack Dorsey's house. I'm going to go stay in San Francisco tonight, and I'm knocking on Jack Dorsey, the billionaire who started Twitter, knocking on his door at 11 a.m. tomorrow, because I think he's the first defector of all the billionaires that will transfer their money, because they're actually out of moves. They don't, because they're playing the game of separation, and it's over. It's like they can't keep the shell game going anymore. There's nowhere for billionaires to invest their money in anything or anything, right? It's all just this bubble, Bitcoin, everything. So they're going to have to seed uh, the new earth, because they literally don't have any other growth funds. They won't have any, and the government is falling apart. And America is the last story of countries that's gonna go. Like when America goes, everything goes. um and it's going, it's like gone, it's actually already collapsed. We're just
Right.
living inside the corpse of an idea. But it's
Like,
just I'm
really,
like,
the
let's
way
can we
that
get
you're
on with the
saying
party
this,
already? Yeah.
I'm like, the way that you're saying this, I'm like, it it's true. Like people, I hear people right now saying, "Oh, the government's still shut down," and I'm like, so fucking what? Like, so what? I'm
It
just in my
shows
mind.
you we
I'm
didn't
like,
ever needed them to start with.
I'm just like, okay, like I don't. I just have to, I just try to filter what I say because these people that I'm talking about, they're not awakened to what they watch me, and it could be my family, and it's like that scarcity, it's that fear, it's like, oh my God. And I'm like, my husband, I'm like, tell my husband, I'm like, I don't, he's like, who cares? Like, like it's just,
Good. I mean, good riddance. Like we
yeah,
never needed it. And it's all the state, the government is just, it's literally just an idea. Like point to it. It
right.
doesn't exist. It's just men in bad suits and
Yeah.
uniform. It's like that's
Yeah.
all it is. It does not exist.
Right.
So as soon as we realize it doesn't exist, what are we waiting on? And them shutting down, it's like, yeah, good. We never needed them. Stop paying your taxes.
Yeah.
Stop going to work. Like now. I
Yeah.
haven't paid taxes in years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's, yeah. I'm like, it feels like so, it feels so real, more than it's ever felt real before. It's like it's happening. And I love, I'm gonna, I did check you, when you sent out the homecoming, the 11/11 homecoming. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. So I'll be definitely following you. I'll make sure everybody also listening follows. Now, when this launches, it'll be after, but at least it's still going to be relevant. So
Totally. And the live stream will be up. You'll see what happened to Jack Dorsey's. I'll be live
I'm
from his house at 11
excited. I
a.m.
can't wait to see this live stream.
So
I'm
I
going
was
to be like,
I'm like, this
tomorrow.
is a good reality programming. You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's how I was like, live stream. Make sure you go check out Meg's live stream.
mean? Exactly.
Even if it's like a month later, it doesn't matter.
No, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And if my writing is good, it's like it's happening. Like I'm gonna meet this man, and he's gonna be working for us, and with with his heart like this. He's the reason I'm choosing him is he's the most benevolent billionaire I could find. He's given away the most in terms of his own income, and he has the right instinct. He wants open source world. He's given away to girls' education and women's run small economic charities and food banks and things like that. Like he gets what needs to be shifted, but he's caught in the system that's basically empire extracts and then nonprofits replenish. Both extractive though. Nonprofits are like the worst because they keep it going. They keep us thinking that we're doing something, and it really is just the other side of the wheel. So we have to take all the money out of, that we really won't need money very soon, but we'll need it just to transition
right,
out of the old system and seed um, sharing economy systems. And then once those get going, there's so much abundance. It would be like it'll be like just sort of fun playing with money, but we'll all basically be billionaires because that's how nature works. So
right.
yeah, so I've pegged him for as the guy that like most likely to defect, and because men uh do play follow the leader, when one goes, the rest go.
Yeah,
The
that's
male
a,
species is sort of loaded or coded for that.
yeah. Now, can you speak a little bit more when you said we'll need, like, money will go away and it'll just be needed to transition? Can you kind of explain what you mean by that? Because
Sure. So let me just imagine like well, so let me start with where I often start with this. It's not an argument, it's just it's a pointer, right? So already, like Jack Dorsey's has said this for years, and it's interesting because he he's the money he made is from intellectual property, but he said there's no such thing as intellectual property. And I agree.
Yeah.
That, so meaning, and now it's like it's so obvious with AI and everything else, right? Like, so somebody said, like, I was just on TikTok earlier and I'm like, oh my God, like so many, my algorithm's so good now, right? It's just like gem after gem of people posting. And I'm like, this is like graduate school education stuff. This is just amazing what these folks are sharing, right? And I follow these brilliant people. I've had many of them on my podcast. And I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter, but I don't follow anybody there. I just follow people on Substack and TikTok. I'm like, those are the new earth leaders. No shade, except it's just like it's kind of it's noisy.
Yeah.
And just like a little behind, let's say,
Yeah.
the third and fourth waivers versus first waiver.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now with AI, it's just like so obvious. Like, how would you sell a healing program anymore? I'm like, it's all available. Like, and where I come from, like my experience and all the people I've had on my podcast alone, just me and my podcast, we've got like, I don't know, the best healing I've ever found, right? And it's all free. So who's going to compete with that? You know what I mean? Like the competition isn't working as intellectual property just spreads far and wide. So, and then it's just one step from intellectual property to realizing private property is not real. That ownership is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? We cannot own what we are. It would be like saying the right hand owns the left hand.
Right.
It's like,
Right. Yes.
and then with wealth hoarding, right? So we have people that own more. It's like the right side of the body is going to hoard all the blood and then think, because it's one, right? Think that it's going to be healthier, better, happier, whatever. Meanwhile, the whole body loses because one side is hoarding, right? And we're seeing that. It's like everybody's losing. I did a lot of private and practice and community mental health, meaning I worked with houseless people and I worked with multimillionaires over the years. By far, the folks with more money at that tipping point where we're getting into extra wealth, most miserable. Like houseless people were happier people pound for pound because it's just all a lie, right? So now, so that's the realization we're coming to. And so what it is just like, imagine the right side, it's like imagine like there's a clogged artery or something, but it just opens and it just takes one. It just takes like one billionaire to open the floods and be like, seed the left side of the body and right and outside of the system. And the blood, just like a river, a dam breaking in a river, will just flood naturally over to the left side of the body, and there will be a natural balance. That's just how nature works. So, so then the body is functioning, meaning, so right now we're already functioning pretty well. I mean, it's still janky, but let's just talk about AI. It's like, gosh, there's so much, everybody has access to university education now, right? And a personal assistant. So now it's just like, okay, now let's just imagine. So I have 10 people maybe who have GoFundMe's for like sanctuaries all over the world, right? So healing sanctuaries. So then they get money to create those. And on their sanctuary, let's say they got $1 million or $10 million. My GoFundMe is like 100 million. My friends is 1 billion. And so one of us gets the money, right? Just one. And now we have a sanctuary where everything's free and everybody's doing what they want to do. And you can come and live there. And right? It's like exactly everyone who doesn't want to come. And by the way, now we're gonna trade, which is really just share with
Yeah.
we just share with another healing sanctuary, and our surplus happens like that, and we seed theirs, and on and on and on and on. Meanwhile, that's such a fun party. We've already got the next billionaire lined up to give our money drop, to give our money drop. And so as soon as the flywheel of a sharing economy gets going, it's it's like who would need money? We're all just playing all day and there's more fruit and cookies made and and art pieces and entertainment and than we could all want. It literally just takes, as they say in the Bible, the mustard seed. So I've seen this as a prophecy, and it is a prophecy, like the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So it's just it's like the left side gets the gets the funding, and then this flood comes basically. And then it's so much abundance we won't even know what to do with it, because it's now we're in natural law. Now we're cooking with gas, and and it's like whatever your idea of heaven is, times it by 1,000, because we won't we can't we haven't lived this way. We've lived in a prison. So it's
Right.
like, imagine you're free and you do whatever you want to do, and then so what I've seen in these hundreds of people who have given me their vision of what they want, right, which is a lot of what the podcast is, um it's all the same. It's all different angles on the same basic heaven on earth, which is everything is healing, everybody's free, everybody's doing what they want to do. And I know human nature, and I know it's a divine orchestra. So like people will say, well, who's going to take out the garbage? I met a garbage guy in Chicago. I lived in Chicago 24 years, loved his job. And he would do it without making money, right? But anybody would just do it on his own schedule, right? He wouldn't have to wake up at 8 a.m. or whatever. He would just like take out the garbage, and he'd probably love composting, and he'd probably, like, he just loved that part of the cycle.
Right.
And there's people for every seat assignment, for everything, and for many seat assignments. Like we all are multifocal. So it's natural law. It's just how it works. If when there's a great movie called Biggest Little Farm. I don't know if you've seen it, where this couple from New York moves out and buys some land, and they take 7 years, which wouldn't take that long for us, um, but they had to do in the end was reseed the soil, meaning they had to put worms in the soil and make the soil rich. As soon as they did that, that was it. They had to put this like worm slurry in their soil. They had to keep getting out of their own way, because the solutions for things were so much simpler and already built in than they ever would have thought. They kept having to like forget that life isn't hard and watch what they call the flywheel get going, so that once the soil was reseeded, it's like the snails that were on the fruit trees that were a problem were actually the perfect food for the ducks, that whose poop helped, get the pond more balanced, so that the other birds came back, so that the ground cover was growing better, so that the sun didn't burn the trees, so that the groundhogs could come back, so they would feed the owls, who then got rid of the vermin who that stopped that were hurting the chickens. And you're right, like it was just that. And then they didn't have any input. Like they now sell all their stuff, but they don't, it's like they don't actually put anything into their farm. It's just abundance, 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 abundance. The only thing they ever put, the only investment, was in the soil. And that's basically it. So it's like an investment in soil, in one person's vision, and then just literally building that soil on that land is going to get this whole thing rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for explaining all of that. Cause I always had this vision that I wanted to go live on my own land, like that nobody else owns, and, like just be self-sufficient and, obviously community, like have more people and all of that stuff. And I feel like that seems like what you are describing. Like,
Everybody
obviously
has that same
community.
vision. We all want
Yeah.
to live village life. Yeah.
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 And I'm like, so you're like, everybody that you talk to has that's my vision I've always had. Like,
Yep.
then I'm like, here we are. How can that shift? And that's
Yeah.
kind of like what I've been working on for myself, because it's like I ultimately want to be free from everything. Like
Yes.
every attachment, everything 3D. Like I don't want to be in the 3D. Like and that's like you literally just took 20 minutes to explain literally everything that I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that
I
is
mean, and this is it. And that tells you it's coded in our bones, our DNA, right? Like we all have the same vision. We want the same thing. We all want to be free. We don't want any fucking borders and countries. That's all a psyop. That's all like, you know, God bless them, but men playing women, like playing life, like creating middlemen, creating a god that as a middleman to we're our own source, creating countries, creating philosophies in between us, and just living freely. And it's not, it's like it's not men's fault. It's like they're hurt as much by the patriarchy and by this backward system.
right.
But it's literally just, it's literally coded in all of us. But I would say with women, we have that natural vision because we're actually the ones meant to lead. And what we lead is because we're built to see the 360, to see what's good for the all, right? We're the circle, and then the masculine is the line. Everybody has both in us, but the masculine, which is more the mind, is the line that then serves it. It's like they do the task, they do the job, um, that serves the whole, right? So like we give them the assignment, they go do it, they come back. It's like they go on the line, and it feeds the whole, and like a spoke in a wheel. Um, and but we've had it backwards, right? We've had them leading, and they don't know where to go. They don't see the whole. They're built to do one task, to be singularly focused. We're built to be multi-focused. So, and that's of course very general, and genders the spectrum, all of that's true. Um, and I know many, many men who see this too and have beautiful visions. But I would say pound for pound, right? Is the women who see it first, let's say, because we're meant to be first. The last goes first. It's also the women and children go first, because women and children have gone last. We've centered men, first. So anyway, the whole thing's flipping around, but it's all the same vision, and we literally just need one defector to get this flywheel going.
Yeah,
And it's
I know.
already happened. Like there's already defectors, already people seeding, but it's really seeding outside the system. So it's not through an organization. It's just peer to peer, direct, decentralized, what you call heterarchy, where everybody's a leader, everybody is equal, right? It's not a matriarchy, it's not a patriarchy, it's a heterarchy. But the center is women and children, so that the flow of attention goes through us, goes through the feminine, which is like going through the soil, right? If you don't plant, I'm like, patriarchy is like is planting seeds in the sky. There's no soil, right? And nothing fruits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't happen in this, it doesn't happen in the sky. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, I was literally gonna ask you, okay, so yeah, you answered that because okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, say how, okay. So you're speaking about like, let's like go from like healthcare to like a community. Like when you're talking about society alignment, like with fulfillment and like natural law, what is that like? What does that look like in practice for you?
Great. So it's I if I see, like, I go the whole world, right? And it's all decentralized villages. Now there's one network, and instead of the algorithm for an open source network is serves all. It serves, so it's like an algorithm that instead of tries to extract your attention, it's like, what are you interested in? Here's this. So you're like, I want to live, like, there's going to be this great migration. First of all, we're all going to have to travel and like pick up our codes and decide where we want to live. But it's like, I like such and such latitude. I want to be in a Mediterranean climate, and I want to focus on animal husbandry or whatever, and then the internet will literally be like, here's all of the people who want to do the exact same thing. And then you go do that, right? And then I can imagine lots of different villages that I would call home, around the world. Um, and in those villages, so now they're connected all digitally. Um, and we all, by the way, we have I have so many friends on Substack that are just mind-blowing, AI builders, and just all kinds of magical things. Like we can live forever. Like there's all kinds of like the codes are gonna just be released.
Yeah.
I fancy myself a billionaire matchmaker. There's this guy, Brian Johnson, who has this Don't Die campaign, but he and now he's doing magic mushrooms, which is great. He's moving along. But anyway, I'm like, he needs to get together with Claudia, my friend, who's the biochemical engineer, who can literally, if she were given a lab, right, she would be able to do all, or not even a lab, it's just like a playground to
Right.
create all of her herbs and do all of her things and meet with all of her other healers. We could get this thing going in no time, and literally just heal. Like everything can turns into a healing facility. Every house is healing and made of crystals that heal us. I mean, the whole thing can be done. We have all the blueprints. So these villages are just like whatever your vibe is, and whatever like your the quality of the environment, right? Like I'm from I have very mixed European heritage, but my next place I'm going to go after Ireland is going to be like Slovenia, Croatia, where I'm from. And that latitude is the same latitude here in California. Like I quite like this temperate climate, and I like coastal living. And so there's something in that. Like, it's not the only thing I love, but I will always probably live on a coast. Um, so it's just like these things that are in our bones and our blood. So then like the village life, so there's multiple villages that you could be connected with, you're connected digitally, and then in that village everyone literally just does what they would want to do all day. Like they just do what they want to do all day. And we will watch and see how, just like Biggest Little Farm, just like an ecosystem, the snails handshake with the fruit trees, which handshake with the ducks, which handshake with the river, because it's all one. So we're following our body, we're following our source and writing our story, and then we'll write ourselves into the other stories that interlock and connect just beautifully. Um, and then in that village life, it looks a lot like just like play. It's like one big playground, right? So we were schooled out of play, right? School should be not be school. It should literally just be, what do you want to do all day, kids? And then here are all the tools and the support and all the people. The whole village raises them, and it's not, you don't box them in. There's no measuring. I'm like, when I was a psychologist, I had to measure people. Like, what the fuck are we measuring people for? Why? Like measure it all, like your IQ or whatever. I want to know what you want to do. I don't want to compare you to other children, right? These, like, grading, the word grading comes from cattle raising. You get graded like cattle. How well will we fit into the system? What grade beef are we? Right? So that's how we've been treated, and that's how we've treated ourselves and perpetuated this. So it's just going to be, and this goes to like create one village where the children are truly free and the women are truly free and the men are in service. Everybody's going to want to live there. Everybody's going to want to recreate it. It's a no-brainer. But all those are decentralized, and one specializes in, like, I love these hand-dyed fabrics from Morocco. And so I probably won't have a full-on hand-dyed factory or whatever where I am. I mean, maybe I will. I don't know. I'll probably I love it. Give me any art and craft. I love it. But you know what I mean? I won't make everything because there's just going to be so much abundance. But I might still get my fabrics from Morocco or whatever, right? So it just goes like that. It becomes this divine interlocking decentralized orchestra. And then my friend Ron Armstrong has like designs for engines that run forever, for hovercrafts, for free energy devices. Like, so there's no cost to getting those fabrics from Morocco to California. And there's no sense that it's separate or anything like that. And there's no intellectual property. So the hand dyeing is free for everybody to do. And the person who teaches it is ready to climb or ready to fly over on her hovercraft to teach it in California. You know what I mean? Like that's the level of abundance we have to think about. And I just stress over and over again, it's natural. It's our default setting. It's what we would have done as children. And you can watch children. You can watch, I give the example all the time of like, if a kid's eating ice cream and they get their fill, and not even before they get their fill, they'll eat their ice cream and then want to share it. Because it's like, I want you to taste this too. I want you to, right? And then my ice cream have a different flavor and you can taste mine, right? So we don't deny ourselves. There's no self-sacrifice needed, but there's a natural abundance that comes as soon as we seed it. So yeah, it's an inevitability. It's already happening. People are waking up so fast. And then my job is just like that bridge. I think of it like a conduit, we're just like poking a hole in a water balloon. And it's just like, here comes the flood. And then just like that, building that soil, build one village. And as the internet guys, I have a friend who knows how to create like the free internet, Jeremy Helm and these guys, Seed Hypermedia. And they're connected with this guy, Ted Nelson, who's the guy who really wanted to build the internet and build it in this direct peer-to-peer way. He called it Xanadu. But it's literally just like so they've said who's going to win the internet because it's like they were not in the end game yet. And they said the phrase that all these tech guys have about it is that the ones who win the internet are the ones who throw the best party. And that's actually why, part of the reason I threw this party. I was like, I've always seen it as a party. Like we're not going to be able to, we're not, as Audre Lorde said, you can't, the master's house will not dismantle, master's tools will not dismantle the master's house, right? So you can't have this serious, competitive, effortful, stressful, and then fighting back on that. That's not the frequency we're going for. So it's a party. It's that we throw a party, tomorrow I'm throwing a party. We're going to throw a party with the wealth transfer that happens. Nobody's going to be able to, my podcast is a party and it's all free. And it's just so compelling. I call it like what did I call it? Like an undeniable idea. It's an undeniable thing that's happening. And people can pretend that they don't want to join the party, but I'm like, come on, come on.
Yeah.
You want to.
And I was just thinking about podcasts. It's like it's interesting. Let me just use the word interesting to see people that charge to be on their podcast. And I'm like, isn't that the reason why you started a podcast? Like, I know I started, here's me. I always forget that people are not, they don't have my mindset and they don't have this like, what can I do to reach more people? What can I do to connect with more people? And the podcast, my podcast has been the biggest platform that I have at current moment, always have, that I have reached so many like-minded individuals, so many people that have shared the same vision that I share, like the heart-centered vision. There is some people that say they're heart-centered. I'm like, but are you really?
Yeah,
But also,
totally.
that's not my job to judge that place. But I see, you said that you're at 100 recording, I should say. It's an interesting number. You're 110 for me. So, and it's funny how it would have been 111. It's very synchronistic for there,
Yeah.
but, um,
110 is 11.
right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's still one. When I was thinking about it, I was like, 110 or 111, or like you just said, it's 11. So I'm like, I was so excited to get like on the call with you. Like I mean, I know a little bit about you, like just from online, but then I'm like, there has to be some change, like shift and change. And like, I feel like that's it. Like just having this conversation with you, I'm like,
Yep.
I'm gonna make sure that I'm part of privilege. So I'm gonna go
Yeah,
follow her.
totally, totally. And there are so many, I mean, you're just going to love it. It's like, and everybody listening too, right? Like we're not special. It's nothing fancy. It's literally just people telling the truth to each other about what we want and what our hearts say. And it's so simple. And I'm here as, I'm like, I'll be our PR person who can speak to the right. Cause I've got the doctorate and I've got the experience. And so people, I mean, it's not easy to get men to listen to women, but so I'm like, throw the party and put on my makeup and have a fun, you know what I mean? It's like, which is the point anyway. It's like,
Yeah.
let it be fun for me. But but I'm in more of a position to just to knock on Jack Dorsey's door, right? And to be like, here's why this is the undeniable idea, and here's why I'm choosing you, and here's why we're ready to get started, man. Like all of us have been awake for a while, like many of us have been awake for a while, and this is everybody's dream. And so you don't even need to be awake. We don't even need, it's just validating each other and remembering together and honoring what's really true and going for that. And some of us, and I'm just happen to be in a position with, as I don't have to have a job, a 9 to 5 or something like that. And have like and really I feel like it's the community and all the people I've met, including yourself, that give me the courage and reflect the truth back to me, right? To go do the thing. And then I reflect it back to you, and we all mirror each other's truth. And then we're there. We are
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I am excited.
Yeah.
So, before we wrap up, thank you so much for all of your wisdom and sharing all of your truths. And everybody listening, I know, even I can see it, I can feel it. This episode, that they're just going to be listening and be like, this is what I need to hear. This is what I need to go more of. What is one action that you love to see people take right now to begin this shift?
Oh, that's great. It's a less of an action and more of a listening. So
Okay.
it's like take that pure awareness that's listening to right now, before your thoughts, before your plan to do anything, and bring that awareness fully into your body, fully into the moment. Again, I've got all kinds of free meditations for that. And honor what's true. Honor what this body, this being, what life wants you to do, right? And it doesn't, it's not going to feel like a doing. It's going to feel like a flowing, because that's how life does it, right? Like there's no, that phrase of behold the lilies of the field, they do not toil, right? So if it doesn't feel like action, if it feel, I mean, it will feel alive, but it doesn't feel like effort. It feels utterly effortless. That's what to do. Is just
Yes.
honor the most effortless movement that you can find right now by listening and feeling into the moment fully.
Yes. I love that. Well, thank you for joining us on today's episode with Dr. Meghan on the Enlightened Misfits podcast. Again, like I said earlier, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe. Go follow her on Substack and TikTok and check out all of her links below. Leave a review and share this with somebody that you feel that would gain knowledge from listening. Stay tuned for more captivating conversations in the future. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next week.